Fleet Admiral Bei Junho stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought Seoul, watching 200 human warships take formation around him. After 3 centuries of hiding their true military capability, humanity was finally showing the galaxy what they had built. "Admiral," his communications officer reported, "all ships report ready for combat operations." Bei nodded, studying the tactical display that showed the largest human military deployment in history. Each ship in the Great Fleet had been designed specifically for warfare against technologically superior opponents. Where alien vessels relied on heavy armor and energy shields, human ships prioritized speed, adaptability, and overwhelming firepower. "Signal from Earth Command, sir," the officer continued. "Operation Sleeping Giant is authorized to proceed." General Hong Yuna joined Bei at the tactical display. The leader of humanity's planetary assault forces had spent weeks studying intelligence reports about Keth ground operations. "Admiral, my forces are ready for immediate deployment," she reported. 15,000 of our best soldiers, equipped for combat in any environment the Keth can create. Bei looked at the deployment plans spreading across multiple star systems. Unlike the predictable tactics used by Federation forces, the human strategy was designed around constant movement and adaptation. "General, what's your assessment of Keth ground forces?" he asked. "Effective against conventional opposition," Hong replied. "They use overwhelming numbers supported by orbital bombardment. Standard Federation doctrine would try to meet them in formal battle lines. And that's exactly what they expect," Bei agreed. "They've studied every known military doctrine in the galaxy, but they've never faced human asymmetric warfare." On the display, tactical markers showed human forces spreading throughout Keth-controlled space. Instead of massing for large battles, the humans were deploying in small, independent units that could strike supply lines, communication networks, and isolated enemy positions. "Sir," the sensor officer called out, "we're detecting Keth fleet movements 3 systems ahead. Looks like they're responding to reports of Captain O's engagement." Bei smiled. The destruction of 3 Keth destroyers by a single human ship had sent shockwaves through the Dominion command structure. For the first time in their expansion, the Keth had encountered an enemy they didn't understand. "How large is their response force?" he asked. 50 ships, sir. Standard Keth battle formation, heavy cruisers supported by destroyer escorts." "Perfect," Bei replied. "General Hong, are your assault teams ready?" "Standing by, Admiral." Commander Ryu Hana's voice came over the communication system from her experimental fighter Teguk. "Admiral, my squadron is in position. The Keth fleet has no idea we're here." Bei looked at the tactical situation developing before him. The Keth were moving exactly as human intelligence had predicted, in organized formations, following established procedures, completely unprepared for the chaos humanity was about to unleash. "All ships." "This is Admiral Bei," he announced on the fleet-wide channel. "Today we show the galaxy what humans do when innocent people are threatened. We don't fight for territory or resources. We fight to protect those who cannot protect themselves." The human fleet began to move, but not in the formation patterns the Keth expected. Instead of advancing in organized battle lines, the ships scattered across multiple approach vectors, using asteroid fields and stellar phenomena as cover. "Sir, the Keth are scanning for our main force," the tactical officer reported. "Their formation is designed to counter a frontal assault." "They're going to be disappointed," Bei replied. "Commander Ryu, begin your attack run." In space near the Keth fleet, 12 human fighters appeared as if materializing from empty space. The Teguk and her squadron mates had been hiding in the sensor shadow of a large asteroid, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "Keth command ship acquired," Ryu reported, her voice calm despite flying directly into the center of an enemy fleet. Beginning attack run, the human fighters moved in patterns that confused Keth targeting computers. Where alien pilots flew predictable courses designed for maximum safety, human pilots used techniques that seemed suicidal but were actually calculated to exploit weaknesses in enemy defensive systems. "Impossible," came a panicked Keth transmission. "Their fighters are ignoring our defensive fire." Ryu's squadron wasn't ignoring the defensive fire. They were using it. Human fighters dove through energy weapon discharges, using the ionization trails to mask their approach signatures. They flew close enough to enemy ships to touch their hulls, then delivered precise strikes to critical systems. "Keth command ship has lost primary communications," Ryu reported. Their fleet coordination is falling apart. This was the moment Bay had been waiting for. All ships execute attack pattern Typhoon. The human fleet struck from 6 different directions simultaneously. Instead of trading long-range fire with the Keth formation, human ships closed to point-blank range where their kinetic weapons could penetrate enemy shields. "Sir, Keth ships are trying to maintain formation," the tactical officer reported, "but our attack pattern is forcing them to split their attention." "That's the idea," Bay replied. "They're fighting the war they prepared for. We're fighting the war we know how to win." General Hong's assault forces joined the battle as human ships disabled Keth vessels, rather than destroying them completely. Boarding parties equipped with powered armor and close combat weapons forced their way onto enemy ships. "Admiral, this is General Hong," came the report from inside a captured Keth cruiser. "These aliens have never faced infantry combat. Their internal defenses are designed to stop energy weapons, not kinetic rounds." The battle became a lesson in the difference between theoretical military knowledge and practical combat experience. The Keith had studied every Federation military doctrine, but human tactics came from thousands of years of warfare against other humans on the most dangerous planet in known space. "Sir, multiple Keth ships are requesting permission to surrender," communications reported. Bay considered this development. In 6 months of expansion, no enemy force had ever made the Keth consider surrender. They had always been the ones offering terms to defeated opponents. "Tell them they can surrender by providing intelligence about Dominion operations and strategic objectives," he replied. "Any ship that continues fighting will be destroyed." Commander Ryu's voice came through the communications again. "Admiral, I'm detecting something interesting. The Keth are broadcasting our combat footage back to their main fleet." "Let them," Bay said with satisfaction. "I want every Keth commander to see what happens when they threaten innocent species." On the tactical display, the Keth formation was collapsing. Ships that had seemed invincible just hours before were now disabled, or surrendering to a human force half their size. General Hong reported from the captured Keth command ship. "Admiral, we've accessed their strategic databases. The Dominion has been planning this expansion for 50 years, studying every known military doctrine in the galaxy." "What did they learn about human capabilities?" Bay asked. "Nothing useful," Hong replied with grim amusement. "Their intelligence reports dismiss humans as primitive Deathworlders with no significant military technology." Bay looked at the tactical display showing Keth ships surrendering or fleeing in disorder. They're about to learn how wrong they were. As the battle ended, reports came in from human forces across multiple star systems. Everywhere the pattern was the same. Keth forces prepared to fight. Federation-style warfare were being overwhelmed by human tactics they had never encountered. "Admiral," his communications officer announced, "we're receiving transmissions from Federation worlds throughout this sector. They're asking who we are and requesting military assistance." Bay considered the implications. For 3 centuries, humanity had hidden in the shadows of galactic civilization. Now they were stepping onto the main stage in the most dramatic way possible. "Send a message to all Federation worlds in this sector," he ordered. "Tell them the Terran Defense Force is here to help any species threatened by the Keth Dominion." The sleeping giant had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. Captain Osilgi watched the tactical display of her stealth ship Bekdu with growing anger. 3 massive Keth destroyers hung in orbit around the last Velthari colony world, systematically destroying everything on the surface. "Captain," reported her tactical officer, "they're not targeting military installations. They're hitting civilian population centers." O had seen the intelligence reports about Keth tactics, but witnessing it firsthand was different. The alien warships were deliberately targeting schools, hospitals, and residential areas while ignoring the planet's small defense installations. "Any response from the defenders?" she asked. "The Veltari are broadcasting surrender offers on all frequencies," her communications officer replied. "The Keth aren't even acknowledging them." O studied the scene through her ship's advanced sensors. The Veltari were a peaceful species that had never developed serious military forces. Their few defense platforms were already destroyed, and their civilian ships were being hunted down as they tried to evacuate refugees. Ambassador Lim Dongwook stood beside the captain's chair, watching the massacre with a grim expression. As humanity's first official galactic diplomat, he had been assigned to observe Keth tactics and attempt communication if possible. "Captain, we have our orders. Lim said quietly. "Observe and report back to Earth Command." "I know what our orders are," O replied, her voice tight with controlled fury. On the main screen, they watched a Keth destroyer fire its main weapons at a refugee ship full of alien children. The civilian vessel disappeared in a flash of superheated plasma. "Sir," the tactical officer called out, "I'm detecting movement from the planet's surface. Looks like survivors trying to reach hidden shelters." The Keth ships immediately redirected their fire toward the fleeing civilians. Energy beams swept across the landscape, turning everything they touched into glowing craters. O made her decision. "Take us out of stealth mode, Captain," Ambassador Lim protested. "Earth Command specifically ordered us not to engage." "Earth Command didn't see what I'm seeing," O replied coldly. "Tactical, target the nearest Keth destroyer. Load kinetic penetrators." The Bekdu shimmered as its stealth systems deactivated. The human ship appeared on the Keth sensors like a ghost materializing in empty space. "Sir, the Keth ships are turning toward us," the tactical officer reported. "They're scanning us with targeting sensors." "Let them scan," O said. "They won't understand what they're looking at until it's too late." The Keth destroyers were massive ships 3 times the size of the Bayekdu. Their hulls bristled with energy weapons and shield generators that could deflect any conventional attack. They had never encountered an enemy they couldn't overwhelm with superior firepower. "Incoming transmission from the lead Keth ship," communications reported. "Put it through," O ordered. The main screen filled with the image of a Keth commander. The alien was tall and covered in armored scales, with eyes that showed no emotion except cold calculation. "Unknown vessel," the Keth spoke in heavily accented Galactic Standard. "You're interfering with Dominion operations. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." O looked directly into the alien's eyes. "This is Captain Osilgi of the Terran vessel Bekdu. You are committing genocide against a defenseless population. I'm ordering you to cease fire and withdraw." The Keth commander's expression didn't change. "Terran, we have no record of this species. No matter, you will die with the others." The transmission cut off as all 3 Keth destroyers opened fire simultaneously. Energy beams and plasma missiles streaked toward the lone human ship. "Evasive maneuvers," O commanded. "Show them what human pilots can do." The Bekdu twisted through space in patterns that seemed impossible for a ship its size. Where the Keth expected the human vessel to turn away from danger, it dove directly through their weapon fire, using the energy discharge to mask its movements. "Their targeting computers can't track us," the tactical officer reported with excitement. "Our movement patterns don't match anything in their databases." "Fire," O ordered. The Bekdu's kinetic weapons spoke with silent fury. Instead of energy beams that could be deflected by shields, the human ship fired solid projectiles at significant fractions of light speed. The dense metal slugs punched through Keth energy shields like they weren't even there. The first Keth destroyer took a direct hit to its main reactor. The massive ship broke apart in a series of explosions that lit up the entire star system. Impossible. Came a panicked transmission from one of the remaining Keth ships. "Their weapons penetrated our shields." O smiled grimly. "Tactical, target their weapon systems. Let's see how brave they are when they can't hurt civilians." The Bekdu moved like a predator among its prey. The human ship was smaller and less heavily armed than the Keth destroyers, but it fought in ways the aliens had never encountered. Instead of standing in formation and trading long-range fire, the human ship darted in close, targeted specific systems, and used the enemy's own size against them. "Captain, we're getting a transmission from the planet's surface," communications reported. "Put it through." The image of a Velthari leader appeared on screen. The alien was tall and thin, with large eyes that showed both hope and disbelief. "Human ship," the alien spoke in broken Galactic Standard. "I am Keltar, leader of the last Velthari survivors. We never expected anyone to help us. We received your distress call," Ambassador Lim replied, stepping forward. "Humanity doesn't abandon innocent people to monsters." Keltar's eyes widened. "You received our message? But we sent it into empty space hoping someone might hear." "Someone did hear," O said, dodging fire from the remaining Keth ships. "And now we're here to help." On the tactical display, the second Keth destroyer was crippled, its weapons destroyed and its engines failing. The third ship was trying to retreat, but the Bekdu was faster and more maneuverable. "Keltar," Ambassador Lim continued, "we need information about the Keth Dominion. How many ships do they have? What are their strategic objectives? They came from beyond the galactic rim 6 months ago, Keltar replied urgently. Thousands of ships, maybe tens of thousands. They study each species before attacking, learning our weaknesses and military doctrines. What did they learn about humanity? O asked while directing another attack run. Nothing, Keltar said with surprise. The Keth dismissed humans as primitive Deathworlders with no significant military capability. They said Earth was too far away to be worth studying. O and Lim exchanged meaningful looks. The Keth's greatest advantage was their knowledge of enemy tactics. But they knew nothing about human warfare. Captain, the tactical officer called out. The third Keth ship is trying to transmit data about our capabilities back to their fleet. Stop them. O ordered. The Bakdu's final attack run destroyed the last Keth destroyer before it could complete its transmission. 3 enemy warships that had been systematically murdering civilians now drifted as debris in space. Keltar, Ambassador Lim said, we're going to evacuate as many of your people as possible. But first, we need you to help us understand what we're really facing. The Keth have been planning this war for decades, Keltar explained. They studied every Federation species, every military doctrine, every weapon system. They know exactly how to defeat any force the galaxy can send against them. Except they don't know about us, O realized. That's right, Keltar confirmed. You fought in ways they've never seen. Your weapons work differently than anything in their databases. Your ship moved in patterns their computers couldn't predict. Ambassador Lim looked at the tactical display showing the destroyed Keth ships. Captain, this changes everything. We're not just observers anymore, O nodded. No, we're not. We're humanity's first official act of war against the Keth Dominion. As the Bakdu began rescue operations for the Velthari survivors, Captain O transmitted a full report back to Earth. The message would change everything. Humanity was no longer hiding in the shadows, and the galaxy was about to learn what happened when someone threatened innocent people in front of humans who had decided to fight. Colonel Nam Jihoon stood in front of 500 of humanity's most elite soldiers. The men and women of the 1st Terran Shock Regiment looked back at him with calm, focused expressions. They had trained for this moment their entire military careers. Today, we stop pretending to be peaceful explorers, Nam announced. The galaxy is about to learn what humans can do when we decide to fight. The soldiers remained silent, but Nam could see the anticipation in their eyes. For years they had watched alien species dismiss humans as primitive Deathworlders. Now they would have the chance to show what growing up on Earth really meant. Master Sergeant Kang Mirai stepped forward. The veteran soldier had spent 20 years training human forces in combat techniques that other species considered impossible. Her scarred face showed the results of countless training exercises designed to push human capabilities to their limits. Listen carefully, she told the assembled troops. Everything we've learned about alien military doctrine tells us they fight like they live, safely and predictably. They use energy shields for protection, fight in organized formations, and avoid close combat whenever possible. Nam nodded. That's going to be their weakness. We've spent 3 centuries perfecting warfare techniques specifically designed for survival, on the most dangerous planet in known space. In the back of the room, Dr. Shin Woojin activated a holographic display showing human military equipment. Unlike the clean, elegant designs favored by alien civilizations, human weapons looked brutal and efficient. While other species developed peaceful technologies, we focused on making war more effective, Dr. Shin explained. Our weapons aren't just more powerful. They're designed to work in any environment against any target. The display showed kinetic rifles that could penetrate alien energy shields, armor that could adapt to different atmospheric conditions, and explosives that worked in the vacuum of space as well as on planetary surfaces. But technology isn't our main advantage, Nam continued. Our real strength comes from how we think about combat. Master Sergeant Kang activated a training simulation. The room filled with a 3-dimensional battlefield, showing typical alien military formations. Neat lines of soldiers with energy weapons, protected by overlapping shield generators. This is how Federation species fight, Kang explained. Organized, predictable, designed to minimize casualties. It works fine against other aliens who follow the same rules. The simulation changed, showing human tactics. Instead of neat formations, human soldiers moved in small groups that constantly changed position. They used cover, moved through areas other species considered impassable, and attacked from unexpected directions. We fight like we evolved to fight, Nam said. Like everything around us is trying to kill us because on Earth it usually was. One of the younger soldiers raised his hand. Sir, what makes our tactics so different? Dr. Shin answered. Other species evolved on worlds where cooperation meant survival. They developed technologies that keep them safe. Humans evolved on a world where everything was dangerous, so we learned to turn danger into a weapon. The training simulation showed examples. Human soldiers fighting in zero gravity while aliens struggled with the environment. Human forces using asteroid fields and radiation storms as cover, while enemy ships avoided the same areas. Human infantry advancing through toxic atmospheres that would kill most other species. The aliens call us Deathworlders because they think our planet is too dangerous, Kang said with a grim smile. They don't understand that growing up on a dangerous world made us dangerous. Nam walked to a display showing Earth's military training programs. While alien children learn mathematics and art, human children learn to swim in oceans full of predators, climb mountains that can kill them, and survive in environments that would terrify most alien species. That's why our military training is so effective, Dr. Shin added. We start with soldiers who already know how to survive in impossible conditions. Then we teach them how to fight. The holographic display showed human soldiers training in conditions that would be considered torture by alien standards. Combat exercises in extreme heat and cold, underwater fighting techniques, zero-gravity warfare, and survival training in environments that could kill them if they made mistakes. Every human soldier can fight effectively in any environment, Nam explained. Aliens need special equipment and environmental suits. We just adapt. Master Sergeant Kang brought up intelligence reports about the Keth Dominion. Our enemies are different from Federation species. They're aggressive and willing to take casualties, but they still fight in conventional ways. The reports showed Keth battle tactics, massive fleets that overwhelmed enemy defenses, ground forces that used superior numbers to crush resistance, and siege tactics designed to break alien morale. They're effective against species that fight defensively, Nam observed. But they've never faced an enemy that fights the way humans do. What do you mean? Asked another soldier. Dr. Shin pulled up comparative analysis charts. Alien species, including the Keth, fight to control territory or resources. They have clear objectives and try to achieve them with minimal losses. Humans fight to eliminate threats, Nam continued. When we decide something is dangerous, we don't try to control it or negotiate with it. We destroy it completely. The room fell silent as the soldiers absorbed this difference. They understood what their commander was telling them. This wouldn't be a war for territory or resources. This would be a war for survival. The Keth think they're the most dangerous species in the galaxy, Kang said. They've conquered 17 civilizations without serious resistance. They believe no one can stop them. They're about to learn differently, Nam replied. They're going to face soldiers trained by the most dangerous planet in known space. Soldiers who don't just fight to win battles, but to make sure their enemies can never threaten anyone again. Dr. Shin activated one final display showing human military assets across the galaxy. Hidden bases, disguised warships, and secret weapons that had been prepared for decades. For 300 years, humanity has been building the most effective military force the galaxy has ever seen, he announced. We designed it specifically to fight enemies more advanced than us in any environment, under any conditions. Tomorrow we deploy, Nam announced. The galaxy is about to discover that the quiet humans from Earth aren't primitive. We're predators who have been waiting patiently for someone to threaten the peaceful species we've learned to protect. The soldiers of the 1st Terran Shock Regiment stood at attention, ready to show the universe what humanity could accomplish when the sleeping giant finally woke up and decided to fight. Admiral Song Jiwon read the report from Captain Lee's monitoring station for the 3rd time. Each reading made her more concerned about what humanity might be facing. She set the datapad down on her desk and looked out the window of her office at Earth's orbital defense platforms. Director Choi will see you, now her assistant announced over the intercom. Song walked through the corridors of the Strategic Command building, past walls covered with star charts and tactical displays. Other officers nodded respectfully as she passed. Everyone could sense the tension in the air. Director Choi Sunho sat behind his massive desk in the most secure room on Earth. The elderly man had guided human foreign policy for 2 decades, always keeping humanity safely in the background of galactic affairs. Admiral Song, he said without looking up from his own copy of the report. What do you make of this Keth Dominion? They're dangerous, Song replied directly. Any species that can destroy 17 civilized worlds in 6 months has serious military capability. Choi finally looked up. More dangerous than the Federation military? From what we know about Federation forces, yes. Most alien species have been peaceful for so long, they've forgotten how to fight real wars. Their military doctrine is designed for peacekeeping and small conflicts. And the Keth. Song pulled up a holographic display showing the attack patterns from the Velthari data. Look at their tactics. Fast strikes, complete destruction of infrastructure, no attempts at communication or negotiation. This is total warfare designed to eliminate threats, not control territory. Choi stood and walked to the window overlooking Earth's capital city. For 3 centuries, we've hidden our true capabilities from the galaxy. The aliens think we're primitive Deathworlders who got lucky with space travel. That strategy has kept us safe, Song agreed. But now we face a real threat, Choi continued. Something that might eventually reach human space whether we want to get involved or not. The door opened and Agent Yoon Dae-ho entered carrying a secure briefcase. The intelligence operative looked tired as if he had been working without sleep for days. Director, I have the full analysis you requested, Yoon said, setting the briefcase on Choi's desk. What did you find? Song asked. Yoon opened the case and spread out photographs and data files. We've been monitoring the Keth advance through our deep space spy networks. The reality is worse than the Velthari transmission indicated. He pointed to aerial photos of destroyed alien cities. They don't just defeat enemy forces and move on. They completely sterilize every world they conquer. No survivors, no infrastructure left intact, nothing. Song studied the images. She had seen the aftermath of human wars, but this was different. This was systematic extermination. What about their military technology? She asked. Advanced, but not beyond what we expected, Yoon replied. Energy weapons, force shields, faster than light travel. Standard galactic technology, but used very effectively. Choi returned to his desk. The question is whether they know anything about human capabilities. Our intelligence suggests they don't, Yoon said. The Keth have been studying Federation military databases for decades, preparing specific counters for every known alien tactic. But there's no indication they know anything about human military doctrine. Song leaned forward. That could be our advantage. Every alien species they've fought so far uses similar tactics. Energy weapons, defensive formations, formal battle lines. Exactly, Yoon agreed. But human military thinking evolved differently. Our tactics come from thousands of years of warfare on a dangerous planet against each other. Choi sat back in his chair, making the decision that would change human history. Admiral Song, I'm authorizing you to activate the Awakening Protocol. Song felt her heart rate increase. The Awakening Protocol was humanity's most classified military plan. For 3 centuries, Earth had been secretly preparing for the day when they might need to defend themselves against alien threats. Sir, activating the protocol will reveal our true military capacity to the entire galaxy, she warned. I know, Choi replied. But if the Keth continue their expansion, they'll reach human space eventually. Better to stop them now while we have the advantage of surprise. Agent Yoon gathered his files. Director, there's something else you should know. Our spies in Federation space report that several member species are beginning to panic. The Federation Council is calling emergency sessions, but they can't agree on any action stronger than diplomatic protests. How long do we have? Song asked. The Keth are currently attacking the last Velthari strongholds, Yoon replied. After that, they'll probably move on to the next cluster of Federation worlds. We estimate 6 months before they start threatening major alien colonies. Song stood up. I'll need to brief the fleet commanders immediately. How much of our actual military strength are we authorized to reveal? Director Choi considered carefully. Everything. If we're going to do this, we do it properly. Show the galaxy what human military forces can really accomplish. As Song left the meeting, her mind was already working on deployment plans. For 300 years, humanity had built and trained a military force that other species couldn't imagine. While aliens developed peaceful technologies, humans had been perfecting the art of warfare. The secret wasn't just advanced weapons, though Earth had those. The real advantage was human tactical thinking. Humans had evolved on a planet where everything tried to kill them, so they learned to fight in ways that other species found difficult to understand. Admiral Song walked to the communications center and sent out coded messages to human military commanders across the galaxy. Within hours, warships that had been disguised as cargo vessels began revealing their true nature. Soldiers who had been posing as traders and diplomats started preparing for combat. On training worlds hidden in remote star systems, the most elite human military units began their final preparations. These were soldiers who had trained their entire lives for a war that everyone hoped would never come. Now that war was here, and the galaxy was about to learn that the quiet humans from the dangerous world called Earth were not as primitive as they appeared, Song looked at the tactical displays showing human military assets across known space. The numbers were impressive, but she knew the real advantage wasn't in ships or weapons. It was in the human way of thinking about warfare. Other species fought wars to control territory or resources. Humans fought wars to eliminate threats completely. The Keth Dominion was about to discover the difference. In communication centers across Earth, military planners began sending orders to human forces that had been waiting patiently for decades. The sleeping giant was finally waking up, and when it fully opened its eyes, the galaxy would never be the same. Captain Lee Hyun stared at the empty black space outside his station window. The stars looked the same as they had every day for the past 3 years. Nothing ever happened out here in the deep void between galaxies. That was exactly how Earth wanted it. The space station Cheonji floated alone, far from any trade routes or alien territories. Lee Hyun and his small crew had one job: listen to alien radio signals and report anything unusual back to Earth. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. Captain called Dr. Park Mina from her computer station. "I'm getting something strange on the long-range receivers." Hyun walked over to where the slim woman sat, surrounded by screens showing wave patterns and alien language. Databases. Dr. Park was the best at understanding alien communications, which made her very valuable on a listening post like this. "What kind of strange?" Lee Hyun asked. Dr. Park pointed at a weak signal on her main screen. "It's very faint, but it's definitely artificial. Someone is broadcasting on an emergency frequency, but not in any language I recognize." Lieutenant Kim Tae looked up from his tactical station. The young officer handled security and weapons systems, though they rarely had need for either. "Could it be pirates?" "No," Dr. Park shook her head. "Pirates use standard galactic languages. This is something else entirely." Lee Hyun studied the signal patterns. After years of monitoring alien communications, he had learned to spot different types of transmissions. "This one felt desperate. Can you clean it up?" he asked. Dr. Park's fingers flew over her keyboard. Slowly, the static cleared and a voice emerged. It spoke in rapid, frightened tones in a language none of them had ever heard. "It's definitely a distress call," Dr. Park said, "but the language is completely unknown. Give me some time to run it through the translation computers." Lee Hyun nodded. "Do it. Kim, scan the area for any ships or stations that might be sending this." For the next several hours, the crew worked to decode the mysterious message. Dr. Park fed the alien words into every translation program Earth had developed. Kim swept their sensors across space looking for the source of the transmission. Finally, Dr. Park called out in excitement, "I've got partial translation." The computers found some similar word patterns in old Federation databases. "What does it say?" Lee Hyun asked. Dr. Park read from her screen, her voice growing more concerned with each word. "We are the Velthari, seeking help. Our worlds are dying. The Keth come with fire and death. 17 colonies destroyed. Billions dead." The bridge fell silent. Kim stopped his sensor sweeps to listen. "There's more," Dr. Park continued. "They're warning everyone to stay away from the outer rim territories. Something called the Keth Dominion is destroying everything in its path." Lee Hyun felt a chill run down his spine. In all his years monitoring alien communications, he had never heard anything like this. Most alien species lived peaceful lives under the protection of the Galactic Federation. Wars were rare and usually small conflicts over trade routes or mining rights. "Can you get more details?" he asked. Dr. Park worked for another hour, slowly piecing together more of the alien language. What she found made everyone on the bridge uncomfortable. "Captain, this is bad," she said quietly. "According to this message, the Keth Dominion appeared 6 months ago at the edge of known space. They attacked without warning or demands for surrender. Every world they hit was completely destroyed. No survivors, no negotiations, nothing." Kim leaned forward in his chair. How is that possible? Doesn't the Federation have military forces? They do, Li Hyun replied. But from what Earth's intelligence services have told us, most Federation species haven't fought a real war in thousands of years. Their military is more like a police force. Dr. Park pulled up a star map on the main screen. Red dots marked the locations mentioned in the Velthari transmission. The pattern showed a clear path of destruction moving toward the center of Federation space. Look at this route, she said, tracing the line of attacks with her finger. If they keep moving in this direction, they'll eventually reach human territory. Li Hyun studied the map carefully. The human colonies were far from the current fighting, but if the Keth Dominion continued expanding, they would eventually encounter Earth's outer settlements. How far away are they from our space? Kim asked. Dr. Park did quick calculations on her computer. At their current rate of expansion, maybe 2 years before they reach our border systems. Li Hyun walked back to his captain's chair and sat down heavily. This was the kind of situation Earth's government had always feared. For 300 years since first contact with alien species, humanity had followed a policy of careful neutrality. They traded with alien civilizations but stayed out of their politics and wars. The official reason was that humans were still too primitive to get involved in galactic affairs. Most alien species saw Earth as a backward world full of aggressive creatures who somehow managed to develop space travel. They called humans Deathworlders because Earth was considered an unusually dangerous planet. But Li Hyun knew the real reason for Earth's isolation. The human government was afraid that if aliens learned about human military capabilities, it would change the balance of power in the galaxy. Better to let everyone think humans were harmless traders and explorers. Captain, Dr. Park said softly, there's something else in this transmission. The Velthari are specifically asking anyone who receives their message to warn their own governments. They say the Keth won't stop until they control everything. Li Hyun made his decision. Send everything we've collected to Earth Command. Full priority transmission. Sir, that will reveal our position to any aliens monitoring communication channels, Kim warned. I don't care, Li Hyun replied. Earth needs to know about this threat. If these Keth are really as dangerous as the Velthari claim, our government needs time to prepare. As Dr. Park began encoding their findings for transmission to Earth, another weak signal came through their receivers. This one was even fainter than the first. What now? Li Hyun asked. Dr. Park listened to the new message, her face growing pale. It's from another Velthari group. They're saying this is their final transmission. The Keth ships have found their last hiding place. The bridge fell silent as they listened to the alien voices fade into static. Somewhere out in the dark space between stars, an entire civilization was dying while the Galactic Federation sent diplomatic protests. Li Hyun looked out at the stars again. They didn't look peaceful anymore. Somewhere out there, something was coming that might threaten not just aliens, but humanity itself. Send that message to Earth, he ordered, and then we wait.